When it comes to strong, vibrant aging, what matters the most? Cardio endurance, having really strong muscles, or is it flexibility, agility, and balance? Well, they all matter. Of course, they all do. Now, probably one of those comes the easiest to you. There's probably one of those that you have kind of a natural proclivity for. And on the flip side, there's probably one of those that you hate, like anything but that. But this video is why all three of these are essential to healthy aging: flexibility, strength, and endurance. Now, here's why you're likely to like one of them more than another. It goes all the way back to the caveman ages. I remember one time in an anthropology class, probably during the caveman ages, it's been a while since I was in college, that one of our professors actually said something that I've never forgotten. And he said, back when human beings were living around the fire and the woolly mastodon would stumble into the camp on a rampage looking for human flesh, people had one of three choices. They could either fight or run or climb up in the trees and the caves and hide. And if you couldn't fight or run or hide, you simply did not survive long enough to contribute your DNA to human beings. You got weeded out early. You didn't live long enough to reproduce. So now the three body types of people are those that have evolved from the runners, the fighters, and the hiders. And you probably have one of those body types, and you probably have the proclivities that go with that body type. First up is the ectomorphs. These were the people that were able to climb and get away that way. And their superpower is agility. They tend to be slender, fine-boned, have terrific balance. And in our modern society, these are the people who evolved towards yoga classes. They are gymnasts. They are figure skaters. They are the ballet dancers. They are the people that the rest of us are like, oh my God, how can they, just drop their head down to their knees like that? How can they balance on one foot for that long? They have got agility. It comes to them naturally. Next up, the mesomorphs. The mesomorphs are the people that we usually think of when we think about athletes. They have cardio fitness. They have stamina. Their superpower is stamina. And they were the people who, when the woolly mastodon came, would run away. And there's still people who are good at running. They often do, in our modern society, appear as runners, or anything that requires burst of speed, like tennis or soccer, or they can become swimmers or cyclists. They tend to have a lot of endurance. They do not necessarily put on weight or muscle particularly fast, but they are very quick. Finally up, the endomorphs. These are the strong men. They were the people who fought, who stood their ground and fought. And they, in modern society, turn out as the weightlifters, the football players, the sumo wrestlers. If you see them on the track and field, they're the guys that are throwing the discus or the javelin. So you tend to be one of those things. You tend to have the superpower of either strength, endurance, or flexibility. Here's the problem. That's what comes to you naturally. But we don't always reach peak levels of fitness by doing what comes naturally. As a matter of fact, as we age, it's especially essential that we do what doesn't come naturally, that we dip into the two categories that aren't our wheelhouse and develop some strength in those two. I mean, think about it. All the flexibility in the world won't help you if you have a heart attack, or if you lack so much muscle strength you can't get out of a chair or get off a toilet. All the strength in the world won't help you if you have a heart attack, or you don't have the flexibility to dress yourself, bend down and tie your shoes. And you can have the strongest heart in the world, but if your muscular strength and your balance are so bad that you tip over and break a hip, the best heart in the world is not going to save you from the nursing home. So basically, we need all three as we age. I mean, that's logical, right? But the problem is human nature. The problem is our ego. Most people invest their fitness hours into getting marginally better at what they're already good at. I talked one time to an exercise physiologist, and he said the problem in a nutshell is this: runners want to run, they want to get a little bit faster. Weightlifters want to get a little bit stronger. They're always upping their poundage. And if you put somebody in a yoga class and they can hold this pose, they're going to look at the more challenging pose and go, hey, next week I'm going to try that. But health isn't a matter at getting incrementally better at what you're already good at. If you can run an 8-minute mile, running a 750 mile, it's not going to make your heart that much stronger. If you can bench press 80 pounds, bench pressing 85, again, you're talking about a very incremental change. And if you can hold a tree pose for 30 seconds, holding it for 35, again, your balance is not improving that much. What makes us great late life athletes is cross training. It's getting a little better at what we're not good at. It's functional fitness. And functional fitness means exactly what it sounds like. You can get through your day with confidence, with independence, because you've got an element at least of all three of these vital components of fitness. So our time would be so much better spent rather than making very marginal improvements at something we're already good at. It would be much better spent getting better at what we're not good at. So this exercise physiologist basically said, look, let's say your cardio level is at 80% of your personal capacity. Yay, you. Put a check beside that. You've done what you have to do for your heart. For the rest of the time, let's say you're at 10% of your strength, your muscle strength. Try and get from 10% to 50% on muscle strength, or get from 10% to 50% on flexibility. Now you're on the path to really becoming a well-rounded athlete, a well-rounded, physically strong person. That's hard to do. People don't like to do what they're bad at. People like to do what they're good at. I mentioned earlier, yoga is not my thing. I have started going to a yoga class because I know any gain I can make in flexibility is going to do me a lot of good down the road. Do I like it? Hell to the no. I go in there feeling like a fool. I'm not one of those people who can do the poses easily. I can't hold them long. But I know that if I can get better at flexibility and balance, it's going to really benefit me. And also, here's the plus side. Once you're pretty good at something, it takes a lot of time and effort to get slightly better at it. Most of us kind of max out. We hit our ceiling, and we're fighting for those incremental improvements. But if you start with something you're really lousy at, you can get somewhat better at it pretty fast. So if you've never lifted weights in your life, if you are like a straight up cardio girl and you're like, that's not my thing, you can probably start improving your muscular strength pretty quickly because there's so much room for improvement. So there is the psychological benefit of seeing improvement rapidly compared to staying in the wheelhouse that you feel most comfortable in. And another thing, too, that I have to say, there's so many varieties in all three of those categories now. I don't like yoga, but I like some types of yoga better than others. And the place where I work out has like 20 different kinds of yoga classes. And I do like the restorative and the yin yoga. Well, like is not the right word. They're my least unfavorite. I mean, I can get through them okay. And if weights are not your thing, there's a plethora of different ways that you can do resistance training. You can use bands, you can use kettlebells, you can use dumbbells, you can, use a barbell. You could do body weight. There's so many different, you could just do the machines. You could be in a class. I'm in a class, but you could easily do the machines if it's not your thing. There's a lot of ways to get stronger. And when it comes to cardio, well, obviously there's an explosion of options with cardio. If you don't like to run, you definitely don't have to run. You can do a water aerobics class or a spin class or something like that. So when you're just saying, ugh, I don't like that category, try to stretch yourself. What are all the ways that you could improve in that category? You're not going to like all of them, but I bet you'll find one that you like okay. The cliches abound. Everyone knows a runner who's pretty much emaciated in their chest from the waist up. Everybody knows a football player that can't touch their toes. Everybody knows a yogi that does not really have any endurance and hates to, break an outdoor sweat. Those cliches exist for a reason, but don't be one of those cliches. Become one of those people that has got in your life strength, flexibility, and endurance. It will work out for you in the end. Functional fitness is where it's at. This is not about us being the best. This is about us having a well-rounded approach to our exercise program as we age. So I'll see you in restorative yoga. Yay. Take care and please subscribe.